There's one thing everyone just considers, kick drums. They are what they are, right? Hey, a truer statement has never been stated. But you can actually do something neat, and something people don't usually think about. You can actually change the pitch of the kicks. You can actually make like a little melody out of it. But we're not going after that. What we're going to do is open up the piano roll. If you right-click on kick, or any of these channels, is what they're called. If you right-click on any of these channels, what you get is a little menu here with a bunch of options. But if you click piano roll here, then you enable the piano roll. Ignore that for now, I'll go over that later. But as you can see, this is the piano roll button. And as long as you are connected to a channel like this, then whenever you hit piano roll, it will be for that. So as we see, we have, usual kick drum stuff, but we can actually, wow, oh, this happens to be the snare. Yeah, the snare works too, but I want to go with the kick drum. Didn't pay attention closely there. So what we want to do So I want to see what this sounds like, and we can play it. As you can see, it sounds really bad. Something we can do. Now, the thing about composing music, and one of the things that makes it really easy, actually, is that it's all trial and error, really. So you can make as many errors as you like, and one of those errors will end up sounding good, Like anything you make on this software, usually it has nothing to do with pre-existing ideas. You just kind of sit down with, I guess, a notion of what you want to get out of it. But you just kind of do it, and truth be told, the song just kind of comes out of nowhere. After quite a few hours of working, and time will fly, I promise you. After quite a few hours of working, you will have a song, and you will be proud of it. I promise you, you will be proud of it, especially if it's your first song. Promise you that. And it's going to feel amazing, because that is a start to a beautiful career. Music is wonderful. It's a wonderful career. It's a wonderful thing. And if music didn't exist, I don't think the human life would be nearly as rich as it is. Rich and flavorful, but not the flavors for the tongue. I don't know. No more stupid analogies. Anyway, so what we want to do is kind of mess around with the kick drum a little bit, and do something non-standard. So as you can see, I'm changing the pitch of the kick drums. So let's see what this sounds like. There you go. As you can see, I changed the pitch, and that's not exactly a melody that I made, but I changed it up a little bit. Now, this is really hit and miss. You really have to, mess around with it until it sounds good with the entire song, because that's all this is. Music production, as I stated before, trial and error. And if you can do trial and error well, anyone can do trial and error well. You'll be swimming. You'll be laughing and swimming and playing and dancing and whatever people like you want. Never mind. And what do you mean, you people? That's not what I meant. Sorry about that. Anyway, enough silliness. So we have this now, and then you see in the step sequencer, it looks different. You see? This shows that it's in the piano roll. We can add whatever we like to the piano roll, actually. Anything that's in the channel menu, you can toss it into a piano roll just by clicking there, and then boom. Even if you add samples, we'll get into those later. Once you add samples to your song, once you drop them into the playlist, and this is called the playlist, this is where all your patterns go. You see, I can paint it in, and then if I hit this button here, which switches between the step sequencer and the playlist, this is your song, then that's playlist, that's pattern. And now look, it's playing your song. So what we want to do now, actually we can zoom in a little bit. I just want to make this 17 bars, but I think of it, these are in sections here. So I don't even think of any terminology or anything. I just kind of do, I call these sections. And that's one of the really big things I want to drive home in this course, is that you do not need to be too picky about the knowledge and the terms and everything in this course, or in any music production whatsoever, because the means to the end is making music. You want to make songs. You don't want to get a degree in music engineering or something like that. No. You're here to learn a very powerful bit of software so you can make the music that you've always wanted to make. And that is what I'm helping you with. And for that reason, I will not go too in-depth technically, but I will cover every aspect of the software that is completely essential for making music. And that's one of the ways I make this course a lot easier. Most courses, they really focus on technical aspects of music production, and it scares away new students. But in this course, I am not focusing on that. I'm focusing on how to make music. So you can finish this course, you can walk on over to your computer that you're probably already sitting at because you just finished the course, and make some bloody tunes right off the bat. As soon as you're done, you can go and make professional level music. And it doesn't matter if you played instruments in the past, you're going to be sitting down and you're going to be making music. Because I have a lot of different skills that I've built up over time that are extremely useful in the field of music making. So, another thing we can do, as we see, we got a beat here. I think I'm going to change this here, just so it's one. We're going to make it boring there. Yeah, you can make it as crazy as you want, as long as it sounds good. Like if something just doesn't seem to mesh well, then you don't want to mess with that. So, just so you know, the stock drums in FL Studio, they suck. They never use any of these as your drum kit. Because tell me this sounds good. I have a hint for you. It sounds like shit. It really sounds bad. And I guess if you're new to FL Studio, you might think it doesn't sound that bad. Oh, I'm used to FL Studio 11. I have a really long thing to scroll down. Still gonna forget that sometimes. But yeah, seriously, you don't want to use that drum kit because it's a really poor quality. What you want to do is you want to get sample packs. And in this course, I have included a download, quite a large download, of all the samples and plugins and everything I use for this course, so you can follow along perfectly. And these are some of the sample packs right here. We have 808 trap step here. It's a very useful one. And as you can see, it has kick drums. So what we want to do is go through here. That's Drake. You see that? So I guess it's supposed to have some sort of sound that's similar to Drake songs. I don't know. Sounds quite distorted to me. But yeah, you have so many different options here. You must recognize that one there. That one, that's a pretty brutal kick right there. So that's pretty neat. I like that. So let's see what that sounds like here. Now, just changing the kick, we get to see kind of how it changes the sound. As you can see, this one, Sump, contains like a little note in the background, which we've now made a little tune with the note in the background of that. You see what I mean? This is kind of how music production works. Now, with music producers' ears, you can see that you got something here, right? Yeah, I'm feeling it. Now what we got to do is change more things. And remember, you can always click this and boop, it goes away. Boop, goes away. You can even close playlist. Boop, goes away. And if you don't have any idea what these things are, if you hover over it and look over here, it will tell you exactly what it is. And see, it says view playlist. I just pointed at my screen. You can't see that. What am I doing? I'm crazy. Anyway, next up, we want to add a snare. And snares are super important for trap and any sort of modern music. So we want to just kind of go through here and I like that one. Hey, it's like a trap snare, right? I hooked you up, man. You got all of these different... Yeah, you have all the trap snare drums and snare drums for any purpose, really. I'll teach you how to like change the sound of anything you want using the EQ a little bit later on. But yeah, you have everything you need here for drum kits and for just advanced production. And this is what the real guys use. They don't, go and sample their own snare drum. When you first start out music production, you feel a bit about using samples of other people. But then if you go look at tutorials of famous people, Martin Garrix, Avicii, those are examples I'm going to make there. But anyone that gives like examples of how they make music and stuff, what they have is a huge library of samples. Some they make themselves if they think it's good enough, but usually they just find them online or buy them or get them from a friend, and that's how it works. It's a very sharing sort of community. Even if you find a loop that's some sort of complicated drum beat, let's see if I find one here, you can just toss that in your song and no one's gonna call you out for it. It's not these loops aren't copyrighted, so you can just put them in music you like. And very often in mainstream music, if you listen to enough of it, you'll hear these common sounds that a lot of different songs make. And that's one of the things that actually defines genres as well, are the sounds in common that people use. So a genre in the beginning sounds like a bunch of copycats, right? But then as time goes on, it defines itself as a genre. You know what I mean? So there is a fine line between just copying and joining a genre movement. A weird example I can think of is vaporwave, which is mostly just slowing down songs. That's it. And then conversely, nightcore, which is just speeding up songs. That I would call not much musicianship, you know what I mean? But really, it's evolved into a genre. There's a lot more that goes into it these days. It's surpassed its basic whatever. It's surpassed what it began as. And actually, vaporwave is all about aesthetics now. It has its own style. And that's a really cool thing about music as well. How it can bridge the gap between other forms of art as well. It really just goes hand in hand with all of them. But anyway, back to the task at hand. What I'm looking for right now is a loop. We want to find a loop. And I do not think I currently loaded up a drum loop in here, but I might be able to find one. These are the basic things included with FL Studio, and feel free to use them. But anything that's basic and included, it's going to sound a little bit cliche. Like outside of the realm of genres, cliche is when you hear sound too much, but it's not genre specific. You know what I mean? So you got the snares for trap, right? Let's get back into this. So if you hear this one I like, which one was it? That one. You see that, let's say it had no genre connected to it whatsoever, and you hear that snare in particular so many times, and it's not even a genre. That's pretty cliche, you know? And then everything that is included, like basic in FL Studio, like it's included when you get the software. Um, Anything that's included when you get the software tends to be used by a lot of people, and you're not very original if you're doing that. But anyway, what we want to do is take this and then drag it into the snare category, and we're going to keep doing that, and I get to show you how much better these drum kits are. So now you go through these and just kind of choose one that's the least grating. That was not bad. I guess I like that one. We can work with that. A little bit more. And then for claps, I do believe they have claps as well. Yep. That's a good ass clap. Listen to that. Super good. I like claps with reverb. So now you don't have to think much about it. When you're forming a drum kit, you just scroll through the list and find one that sounds good and then throw it in. And if it sounds bad as a whole, you just throw it in. And if it sounds bad as a whole, you simply change the instrument. Spending too much time being a perfectionist when you're picking the sounds in the beginning is just going to waste your time, really. So try not to be way too much of a perfectionist in that sense. So when you got that down, you can just kind of play the pattern here and then kind of see what it sounds like. You see how that sounds awesome? You see like a little bit of magic there. So now we have like the beginning of a song, and then you can add like a some huge bass can come in after a little bit of that. Let's say like one section of it. You can actually make a snare drum sort of trap, and it can lead directly into the bass, and then melody and whatever else you want to put in the song. And this is kind of an example of how a song might start. You just you throw some stuff together and you get a neato sort of sound.